Water. Water is essential to all of us for many purposes. Assumes for some reason your family has provided only one bucket of water every day for a week. Imagine what would happen without water. Would you be able to clean? Happen without water? Would you be able to clean utensils, cook, wash clothes, or bathe without water? Write the some other activities that you would not be able to do. What would happen if we do not get water easily for a long period of time? We answer we use water to drink. There are so many activities for which we bring to use water apart from drinking. Do you have an idea about the quantity of water we need a single day? How much water do we use? Activity 1. Write all the activities for which you use water in a day. Some activities are given in table 1. Make a similar kind of a table in your notebook. Measure the amount of water used in a day. For each activity done by you and your other family members, you can use a glass. You can use a glass, a mug, a bucket, or any other container to measure the quantity of water used by your family in a day. Now you have an estimate as to how much water your family uses in a day. Using this information, you can calculate the amount of water used by your family in a year. Now divide this amount of water by the number of members of your family. This will give a rough idea of amount of water used one member of your family in a year. Calculate the number of people that survive in your town or village. You may now guess what amount of water needed by your town or village in a year. Mohan is curious to know whether people living in different areas of our country get the same amount of water. Are there areas where people do not get a sufficient amount of water? How do they manage? You have written the name of many activities for which you use water. Do you think that our need of water is limited to these kind of activities? We use rice, wheat, pulses, vegetables, and many other food items every day. We also know that some fibers that we use for making fabric come from plants. Is water not required to grow this? Can you tell some more uses of water? Water is used in industries for making almost all kinds of things that we use. So we require water not only for our daily purposes but also for producing many other things. Sima wants to tell you that about 2 glasses of water are required to make each page of a book. Where do we get water from? Where do you get the water? Some people may say we draw water from a spring, river well, pond, or a hand pump. Some others might say we get water from taps. Have you ever wondered from where water comes in the taps? Water that we get from taps is also drawn from a river, a lake, or a well. It is then supplied to us through a network of pipes. We all get the water into our homes by different ways, but finally, we all get water from the similar sources such as ponds, rivers, lakes, and wells. Water in taps comes from rivers, lakes, or wells. We have just discussed about some of the sources of water. Where does the water come from to fill these lakes, ponds, rivers, and wells? We know that about two-third part of the earth is covered with water. Most of this water is in seas and oceans. Imagine a day in your life when water supply is not available, so you have to bring it yourself from a far away place. Would you use the same amount of water in this day as you use on any other day? The water found in seas and oceans contains many salts dissolved in it, so it is not used in drinking and other agriculture, domestic and industrial needs. You might have heard or read the famous lines of the poem "Rime of the Ancient Mariner," written by St. Coleridge in 1798. 98. Water everywhere, nor any drop to drink. In these lines, the poet has described the plight of sailors on a ship lost in the ocean. We use the water that may be supplied by ocean. Do you find this surprising? In fact, the water that we use is not salty. Many people live in places far away from the oceans. Does the water in places far away from the oceans? Does the water supply in these far away places also depend on the oceans? How does the ocean water reach in lakes, ponds, wells, and rivers, which supply as water? How does it possible that the water from these sources is not saline anymore? To know this, we have to understand the water cycle. Water cycle, despairing trick of water. How many times have you observed that water spread on a floor dries up after some time? The water looks to despair in the same way. Water despairs soon from wet clothes as they are kept in the sunlight and we get dry clothes. Water also despairs from rooftops, roads and some other places after the rains. Where does this water go? Remind the activity 6 in chapter 5 in which we hated the saline water. What did we find? The water was evaporated and the salt was left behind. This activity suggests as an idea that on heating, water converts into its vapor. We also find from this activity that water vapor does not carry away the salt with it. After that, water vapors so made become a part of the atmosphere and, and cannot easily be seen. We also found that heating is necessary to change water into its vapor. However, we have observed that water converts into its vapor also from the roads, fields, rooftops, and other land regions. We have also discussed in chapter 5 that we obtain salt from seawater. For this, we collect the seawater in shallow pits and leave the water to evaporate after some days. Salty water gets evaporated and with the heap of salt at that places. From where does this water get the heat to evaporate? Let us try to find out. Activity 2. Take two similar size of plates. Put one plate in sunlight and put the other plate under shade. Now add equal amount of water in these plates. You can use a cap of a bottle to measure the amount of water. Make sure that water does not spill over. Observe both the plates after every 20 minutes. Does the water look to despair? From which plate does it evaporate first? What is the source of heat here for this evaporation? For this evaporation, sunlight falls on the water, lakes, rivers, oceans, and ponds. During the daytime, the fields and other land regions also receive sunlight. As a result, water from all these places continuously converts into vapor. However, the salts dissolved in the water are left behind at those places. In this activity, did you find that water also evaporated from the plate kept in the shade? Though it could have taken more time. Have taken more time. Does the sunlight heat is reaching here? Yes, during the daytime, all the air surrounding us gets heated. As it gets heated, this warm air gives heat to water for evaporation in the shade. Thus, evaporation happens from all the open surfaces of water. As a result, these water vapors get continuously added to air. However, evaporation takes place in shadow. That is why we rarely observe its loss from a bucket full of water in sunlight. Evaporation happens faster on heating water on a burner. Its evaporation happens more faster. Is there any other process through which water vapor can be changed into air? Loss of water by plants. You have learnt in that plants need water to grow. Plants use a part of this water to make their food and store some of it in their various parts. The plants release the remaining part of this water into air. As water vapor through the process of transpiration, do you remember activity 4 in chapter 7, in which you have observed transpiration of water through the leaves of plants? Mohan has been reading about transpiration in a book. He asked himself how much water is lost by wet plants through transpiration that gave us 1 kilogram of wet. He observed that this is nearly 500 liters or 8 each, roughly 25 big-sized buckets full of water. Can you now imagine the amount of water lost by plants of all the crops, forests, and grasslands together? Water vapor gets added into the air through the process of evaporation and transpiration. Is it lost forever? Now we get it back again, as we will see in next activity. How are clouds formed? Activity 3. Take a glass and fill it half with water from the outside. Wipe the glass with a clean piece of dry cloth. Pour some ice into the water. Wait for 2 or 3 minutes. See the changes that happen on the outer surface of the glass. From where do water drops come on the outer surface of the glass? The cold surface of the having iced water cools the air around it. As a result, the water vapor of the air condenses on the outer surface of the glass. We have observed this process of condensation in activity 7 in chapter 5. Sima had observed dew on leaves of grass on winter mornings. Did you observe something similar on leaves of plants or metal surfaces like iron grills and gates on a winter morning? Is it also due to consideration? Do you observe this happening on hot summer mornings? The condensations process plays a significant role in bringing water back to the surface of the earth. Let us try to know how does it happens. As we go to higher from the surface of the earth, temperature begins to fall. When the air goes up higher, it gets cooler and cooler. At a certain height, the air becomes as cool that the water vapor present in it condenses to form tiny drops of water, which are called droplets. These tiny droplets remain floating in air and seem to us as clouds. These many droplets of water come together to form larger side drops of water. Some drops of water becomes so heavy that they start to fall. These falling water drops are called rain. In certain conditions, these drops may also fall as snow or hail. Mohan has observed fog near the ground in winter morning. He is thinking that if this is also due to condensation of water vapor near close the ground. What do you think? So what goes into air by evaporation in the form of evaporation, vapor and transpiration forms clouds and then comes back to the earth as hail, rain or snow. Back to the oceans, what happens to the water that comes in the form of rain, hail or snow or different regions of the earth? Usually all land surfaces are above the level of oceans. So most of the water that falls on the land as snow and rain at last goes back to the oceans. This happens by several processes. A snow present is the mountain areas melts into water. This water flows down from the mountains in the form of large streams and rivers. Some of the water that falls on land in the form of rain and also flows in the form of small streams and rivers. Most of the rivers cover long distances on our land and at last fall it into an ocean or a sea. However, some rivers flow in the form of lakes. The lakes and ponds are also filled up by rainwater. A part of the rainwater absorbs by the ground and seems to disappear in the land. Some of this water is brought back into the air by the process of transpiration and evaporation. The rest of water seeps gently into the ground. Most of this most of this water becomes available to us as underground water. Underground water fills up the open wells. Underground water is also a source for many lakes. We get this underground water through hand pump or a tube well. The more hand pumps or tube wells that are used in any region, we need to dig deeper to find this underground water due to overuse. The loss in the level of groundwater is worrisome. Sima wants to share information with you in those regions where the land has very little or no vegetation. Rainwater also takes the upper layer of the land away with it. There are some areas where most of the soil is covered with concentrated concrete. With concrete, this reduces the seepage of rainwater inside the soil, which at last affects the availability of groundwater. We have learnt that water brought back to the surface of the earth by rain, snow, or hail moves back to oceans. This water comes from the oceans on the surface of the earth and goes into air in the form of vapor. Then again returns as rain, snow, or hail, and finally goes back to the oceans. This type of circulation of water is known as the water cycle. This circulation of water between land and oceans in a continuous process. This circulation maintains the supply of water on land. What if it rains heavily? The time, duration, and the amount of rainfall is found different at different places in some parts of the world. It rains throughout the year, while there are some other places where it rains only for some days in a year. In India, most of the rainfall occurs during the monsoon season. Monsoon season rains provide us relief, especially after hot summer days. The sowing of several crops depends on the occurrence of monsoon. However, excess of rainfall may create many problems. Heavy rains may lead to rise in the of water in rivers, ponds, and lakes. This water may spread over large areas by breaking rivers and lakes, which cause floods. The forests, crop fields, cities, and villages may get submerged by water in our country. Floods cause extensive damage to human life, domestic animals, property, and crops every year. During floods, the animals surviving in the water also get carried away with the water. They often get trapped on land areas and die when level of flood water decreases. Rains also affect the animals surviving on the land. What happens if it does not rain for a long period? Suppose it does not rain in your region for a year or more. Then what would happen? The loss of water continues from soil by transpiration and evaporation. Since it is not being brought back to soil by rain, so the land becomes dry. The level of water in wells and ponds of that region goes down, and few of them may even dry up. The groundwater level may also decrease. This may lead to drought in that region. It becomes difficult to get fodder and food in drought conditions. You have certainly heard about droughts occurring in some parts of our country or the world. Can you write the difficulties faced by the people surviving in these regions? Can you also tell what happens to the animals and the vegetation in these conditions? Try to find out about this by taking to your parents and teachers, and by reading about it from magazines and newspapers. How can we conserve water? How can we conserve water? A small fraction of water present on the earth is enough for use of plants, humans, and animals. Most of the water is in the oceans and at animals. Most of the water is in the oceans and it cannot be brought into use directly if the level of the ground water recedes drastically, then this cannot be used anymore. The total amount of water on earth always remains equal, but water available for use is very limited and is decreasing day by day with our uses. The requirement of water is increasing day by day due to the increasing population. The number of people using water is increasing in many cities. Long lines for collection of water can be seen. Also, more and more amount of water is being used in food production and by the industries. Many parts of the world are facing the problem of water shortage due to these regions. Hence, it is very important that we should use water carefully. We should not waste water in any way. Rainwater harvesting, we can increase the availability of water by collecting rainwater and by storing it for future use. This collection of rainwater is called rainwater harvesting. The basic idea of rainwater harvesting is to catch water where it falls. What happens to the rainwater that falls in regions that are mostly covered with concrete buildings and roads? This rainwater flows into the drains, isn't it? Some part of this rainwater goes to lakes or rivers, which could be far away because this water did not seep into the ground around us. So a lot of effort will then be required to get this water back into our homes. Two main techniques of rainwater harvesting are rooftop rainwater harvesting. In this technique, the rainwater is collected from our rooftop to a storage tank through pipes. In this water, soil may be present which comes from the roof, and we need to filter it before use. We can send this water directly into a pit in the ground through pipes. This rainwater then seeps gently into the soil to refill or recharge the groundwater. Second way is that the water collected from the road side drains is allowed to go directly into the ground.